Once upon a time, there was a boy named Kurt who was a member of the Dragon Fang squad. But he was the weakest and most inferior member as he was not good at fighting and useless to them.
Know your f***ing place, trash!
One day, the squad was fighting against a giant monster threatening the village while he was hiding like a coward behind the building. The next day, Kurt is surprised when Gulnova, the squad leader, decides to fire him. When he asks if he's done anything wrong, Gulnova tells him he's not doing anything wrong. Bandana then told him that they wanted to become stronger after their promotion, and that could only be achieved by adding a new member who could use magic. But for that to happen, they would have to give up one of their band members because the rule is that each band can only have 4 members.
But you can't do this to me.
You know how much I sacrificed?
Kurt tries to beg them to stay, but ends up getting a resounding kick from Gulnova, who kicks him out of the headquarters and eventually leaves him alone, traveling without a destination. After a while, Kurt found himself homeless and on the verge of bankruptcy, so he decided to go to the Hello Work Guild to look for work. As soon as he entered, his hair stood on end when the guild's supervisor, Kershel, suddenly appeared in front of him. He tells her he's looking for a job, and she decides to give him an interview and an aptitude test. As she asks him questions, she asks him where he worked before coming here, and he tells her that he used to handle the chores for the Dragon Fangs, but they eventually fired him. Kershel tried to put him at ease and told him that working with an SS band would be a great addition to his resume. He felt elated that people would look at him favorably just because he was a member of that band. Then she told him it was time for an aptitude test that would reveal his hidden abilities and their classification.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
Kurt's excitement turned to frustration when he realized that all of his abilities were G-rated and that he lacked the ability to fight. Kershel suggested he take up a business like blacksmithing and alchemy, but he would have to wait a week as the person who specializes in this type of business is not available at the moment. So he admitted to her that he was broke and needed money. She pointed to a sandbag and asked him to try to lift it. When he did so, he was surprised that it was very heavy and felt as if the bag had drained some of his magical energy. When she found that he could lift it even a little, she offered him a job in construction and told him that a city in Tycoon County was recruiting workers to repair the city walls. Kurt didn't hesitate to accept the job and felt relieved that he had found work so quickly. He quickly went to the county after getting a letter of introduction and met Allraid, the foreman, who had to accept him despite his emaciated physique due to the labor shortage. Then he told him what he had to do, that he had to do at least half his work in 3 hours and that his salary depended on performance, so he shouldn't slack off and lose money.
It just sounds like slavery with extra steps.
After he left, Kurt thought of pouring some magical energy into the cement to get the job done. 3 hours later, Allraid was shocked to see that he had repaired a third of the west wall in that time, while Kurt was confused and told him that it was all he could do after he ran out of cement. Allraid wondered how long he could work here and Kurt told him that he was hoping to work for a week. Allraid decided to settle for that much today and then gave him a small amount of money and told him that this was all he could pay him for now, and that he would transfer the rest of the money to the recruitment company. Kurt felt that he received a large amount of money for this work and wondered if this was really his pay. And then he was motivated to put in more effort tomorrow. And after 3 days, Kurt succeeded in repairing the western and northern wall alone, to the surprise of everyone, including Allraid. Then Allraid decided to bail him out and told him that he didn't need to do this work anymore since there was nothing left for the other workers to do, and told him that he was working too fast than usual, making his ability seem SS or SSS, and advised him to go to work in the royal capital. After that, Kurt took the rest of his salary and went back to the recruitment company, thinking that Allraid wanted to get rid of him so much that he praised him and paid him a lot of money.
What?
And then told Kershel what happened to him, feeling frustrated. While they were talking, they found a girl complaining after the other receptionist told her that no one would accept the terms of the job she advertised, so Kershel went to check it out, and the employee told her that she wanted to hire a miner.
What do you mean by that?
But she wanted to pay based on results, not upfront, and that she would be exploring an unknown mountain. Kershel suggests hiring investors to develop the mines. The girl named Ulyssia tells her she doesn't have enough money and will lose the mountain if she doesn't pay the taxes in a week. Kurt intervenes and tells her he wants the job. Kershel warned him that he wasn't guaranteed to get paid for the job, as he wouldn't make money if he didn't find anything on the mountain. Ulyssia told her that she wanted to hire someone with a strong body, not a kid like him. Kurt was frustrated when Kershel told her that she would have to pay 10 silver coins. So Ulyssia accepted Kurt's job because she didn't have enough money, and they left the company together. After their departure, Kershel received part of his salary for construction work, and was shocked when she read that his salary was 200 gold coins that she tripped over the sandbags and fell, and when she wondered why she was here. The receptionist told her that these are basically not sandbags, but are used to measure the amount of magical energy that a person has in his body, and the greater the energy, the heavier the bag is for him. Herschel remembered that Kurt had difficulty carrying the bag, which indicated that he had a lot of magical energy in him. On the other hand, Kurt went with Ulysses to the workplace and was surprised to find that there was only one tent to stay in and was embarrassed at the thought of sharing a tent with such a cute woman. Ulysses was shocked when he called her cute. He told her that he was serious about calling her cute, as he had dealt with all kinds of people and found no one as beautiful as her.
Yeah, boy.
Ulysses scolded him for flirting with her and told him that she had been an adventurer since she was 10 years old, so it was impossible for her to be cute. He asked if she had cooked the food and she told him that she had only boiled it and that it didn't count as cooking. Kurt was happy to eat food prepared by someone else for the first time in a long time and remembered that his former companions had never eaten with him. At night, Kurt felt restless and could not sleep, and when he looked at Ulysses, he was surprised to see her sleeping next to him, completely naked, so he decided to sleep outside to give her space, while Ulysses felt happy to confirm that he was a good person after pretending to sleep like that.
What?
The next day, Ulysses woke up and found him still sleeping outside. She was surprised to see that he had fixed the button on her sweater, so she felt that he might be working in the wrong place. After Kurt woke up, they decided to quickly head towards the mountain, and he asked her if she knew where they would start digging. She told him that they would start nearby, but he warned her that they might not find any raw materials if they dig randomly. He decided to take a look around, and after a while he managed to find a rock containing gemstones. He then told her that one of these stones can be sold in the market for about 3 gold coins. Ulysses was excited that they could only save a third of the money today, as they have to collect 10 gold coins within a week. Kurt then collected all the rocks containing stones and disassembled them to extract a large amount of stones. When Ulysses thought they would be able to sell them, he told her that all the stones were worth nothing, so he would have to turn them into magic crystals first. Then she was shocked to see that he managed to turn the stone into a magic crystal in less than a second, as she knew that it takes a magical craftsman an hour of work to turn one magic crystal. He told her that he didn't have enough energy to work that long and thought that the special thing was that he could use his magical energy for an hour straight, so he told her that he didn't have enough energy to work that long. In the evening, Ulysses went to the Adventurers Guild to sell the crystals. The clerk asked her to show him the documentation for the crystals, but she told him that they were made locally, and when he started asking her questions, she showed him the logo that means she is an adventurer working under the supervision of the royal family. Then she told him that she wanted to go to the capital by teleportation, thinking that she had to pretend that she was still working for the royal family to evade questions. When she went to visit her friend Mimiko, she thought about selling the crystals to her. When she looks at them, she tells her that their glow isn't that strong, so they're probably not worth much. Then she notices a detail in the crystal and suddenly tells her that she can buy one stone for 10 gold coins. Ulysses was surprised at her change of heart, and Mimiko told her that the crystal contained 10 times the usual amount of magical energy, and that the faint glow was because whoever made it had treated it to prevent the energy inside from leaking out. Ulysses told her that she still had 49 more crystals, so Mimiko decided to buy the whole lot for 500 gold coins on 2 conditions: not to sell the crystals anywhere other than her shop and to tell her who made the crystals. Ulysses refused to tell her the identity of Kurt without his permission. When Mimiko told her that this was an order, Ulysses was furious and told her that she no longer worked for the royal family to order her around as a court witch. Mimiko asked her as a friend not to let the crystal maker go to another country at least, and to tell him that the family could offer him the position of director of the Royal Magical Technology Research Laboratory, and give him the title of honorary baron and possibly count if the king agrees. After Ulysses left the store, she couldn't believe that she had gotten more than she had hoped for and that Kurt was about to become a count or a baron of the royal family, so she decided to go to the recruitment company to find out more about him. When she arrived, Herschel was also thinking about Kurt, and they told each other that they wanted to know more about him. But when she caught herself, she told Ulysses that she couldn't divulge confidential information about her clients. So Ulysses used her former position to get what she wanted. Herschel gave her his file, and Ulysses found that he was a former member of the Dragon Fang squad and was surprised that he received 200 gold coins as wages in his previous job and realized that he was an interesting person. She then asked Herschel to deposit 499 gold coins into his account and ordered her not to divulge any information about Kurt to anyone. The next day, Ulysses returned to where she had left him and was shocked to find that he had built a house to stay in instead of a tent while she was gone. She asked him if it was normal for him to be able to build a whole house in one night, and he simply told her that everyone in his town does it all the time. And Ulysses felt that there was a secret behind his extraordinary abilities. The Dragon Fang squad fought their first battle against a monster after Kurt's expulsion. And to everyone's surprise, their powers don't work as well as they used to, and they have a very hard time fighting the monster. And Bandana realizes that this squad is no longer worth anything and it's time to leave them behind. Kurt is surprised by Ulysses' royal offer to become a noble and wonders if she's not trying to trick him in some way. She tells him that the person who evaluated his crystals is a court magician. Kurt is confused and asks her to decline the offer on his behalf, as he can't imagine himself working in a position that puts him above others, and he still wants to return to his old band someday. Then tells Ulysses that he would rather work with her here. He wondered if the price of the crystals wasn't enough to pay her taxes, and she got confused before telling him that she took 1 gold coin as a brokerage fee and deposited the rest into his account since he made the crystals, making the money his money in the first place. He told her that she shouldn't worry about him so much. She told him that she couldn't accept such a large sum of money to avoid feeling guilty about it, and that she wanted him to keep digging. And he told her that he had found a special kind of rock yesterday. She was curious to know if he had gotten any rest while she was gone, but her curiosity quickly turned into shock when he told her he had only slept 6 hours. She sat down to calculate how long it had taken him to build this house and gather his resources, while Kurt thought he had slept too much since he only slept 4 hours when he was in the Dragon Fang squad. He apologized to her and promised to make up for his rest time, which made Ulysses feel weird. Then they went together to the place where he found the rocks, and Kurt asked her not to dig deeper than 50 meters because there are sediments in this area. He told her that he decided to continue digging in the place where they found the gemstones yesterday. After hours of digging, Ulysses was overjoyed when she found a topaz stone and thought about asking Kurt to turn it into a magic crystal to sell it for a higher price. Then she felt guilty about taking advantage of him for free like that and decided to go looking for him, thinking that he might have made a whole tunnel while she was gone. When she reached him, he apologized that he could only collect small fragments of stones in the end. When she looked at the useless stones he found, she noticed that they shone like precious stones. He told her that it was an ordinary stone since they can extract a lot of it, making it of low value. Ulysses was shocked when he told her it was mithril, and what puzzled her even more was that he talked about the stone as if it were a bunch of garbage, since mithril is basically a stone more valuable than gold and platinum. While it seems ordinary to Kurt because he used to collect so much of it in his village that he threw it away. Then she found out that he was originally looking for orichalcum, known as the metal of the gods, and she couldn't understand the existence of such a thing in the mountains. So he told her that it could be easily mined by digging for 7 kilometers. She realized that he had dug that distance and returned to the surface in only 8 hours and was no longer surprised by anything this hard-working creature could do. 2 days later, they were back in Sumela again, and the tunnel he had built connected the city to Tycoon Province, and Ulysses was collecting a maintenance fee from any merchant who passed through the tunnel. One day, Kurt was wandering around the neighborhood and was surprised to run into Bandana. When he asked her about the others, she told him that she was no longer a member of the Dragon Fang, as Gulnova had a bad temper and caused trouble for them all the time. The last time he ordered her to summon Kurt to cook for them and vowed to hurt him if he resisted. She borrowed a teleportation stone from him before she left so that he could be arrested after he walked out of a restaurant without paying for what he ate because he didn't like it. And she realized that the band was finished with his arrest and the church's call to Marlefus. She then decided to go to Kurt and claim that she had been kicked out of the band like him so he wouldn't get in trouble. Kurt, frustrated that he couldn't go back to his old band, asked why he was so adamant about going back, and he told her that he owed Gulnova a lot. When she realized that he was on his way to the recruitment company to look for a new job, she told him that an acquaintance of hers was short-handed in his workshop and suggested he go and help him. Kurt hesitated to accept the job and thought it might not be of much use, but she encouraged him and gave him a map so he wouldn't get lost. When he went to the workshop, he was surprised that it looked like a normal person's house. Then he knocked on the door and was surprised when a young elf girl greeted him. He thought she was the artisan's teacher, but she told him that she was his assistant named Michelle, so he told her that he came to help them on Bandana's recommendation. Michelle pulls him inside and it turns out he's going to help with the cleanup. He's disappointed that he thought he'd be working as a craftsman, but he decides to give it his best shot and manages to clean up the kitchen mess in just half an hour. After he finished his work, he thought of going to Michelle to ask her what he should do next. When he got to her room, he knocked on the door and was surprised to find a half-naked blonde girl inside. He felt embarrassed and told her that he started working here today. She told him that her mistress had gone downstairs. As she approached him, he noticed a mark on her stomach. She told him it was a curse. He wanted to examine it and found that it didn't hurt when he touched it. So he realized that the curse had eaten her body to the point that she no longer felt pain. He decides to prepare some food for her, and on his way to the kitchen, he blushes at the thought of touching a naked woman's body. Ulysses is surprised when Mimiko tells her that the total amount of materials she has collected is 50,000 gold coins, which is an exaggerated figure. She worried about Kurt and wondered what would happen to him if the news about him spread. Mimiko told her that at best he would be kidnapped and at worst he would be assassinated. Then she asked Ulysses what she intended to do with him, and she thought about making him a master craftsman to limit his movement around the country, and she would act as his bodyguard. Then she thought that the hardest part would be convincing him, as he doesn't realize his true abilities and he underestimates himself a lot. While Kurt was preparing the food, Michelle and Mrs. Ophelia arrived in the kitchen and were surprised to find it completely clean and like new. Kurt apologizes that he had to use the kitchen without permission. When she realizes he's making food for the girl he met in the back room, she asks him to promise not to tell anyone about the girl. After he left, she went to the mysterious girl's room and put the food Kurt had prepared on the table and realized that he had made it for her. When Ophelia wanted to taste it first to find out if it contained poison, the girl told her that she had become emaciated and her death was only a matter of time, and that her intuition told her that Kurt was a good person and she wanted to trust him after spending her life suspecting everyone because she didn't know who had cursed her. Ophelia thought that the food contained poison and went to get the antidote, but the girl told her that she was fine, and Ophelia was surprised to find that she was completely healed after the disappearance of the mark, and she couldn't understand it. Then she decided to go to Mimiko's shop with the girl, who quickly bowed before Mimiko and Ulyssia after she revealed herself to them, as it turned out that she is called Lyslot, and is the third princess of the kingdom. Ophelia tells them that she wasn't sick as rumored, but was cursed after someone tried to assassinate her and wants Mimiko to find the person who put the curse on her, but she was completely cured after she broke the curse. Mimiko admires the princess's power to break the curse, and she and Ulyssia are shocked when Lyslot tells them that the curse was broken thanks to Kurt. Ulyssia doesn't understand what he has done since they parted ways, while Mimiko manages to find 3 suspects who tried to assassinate Lyslot: the first general of the Royal Reconnaissance Forces, Senova, the bishop of the Ballin Church, Tristan, and Isidore, the king's third wife. Ophelia guessed that one of them had some spies inside the royal palace, making it difficult to ascertain the identity of the perpetrator since they all had something to be suspicious of, and decided to set a trap for the 3 of them. Then she told them that Lyslot had celebrated her 15th birthday a few days ago, and tradition required her to leave the royal palace to train for a year. So she decided to create a fake artisan workshop run by someone who was not a master craftsman, and have Lyslot enroll in the workshop. Mimiko thought of the right person for the job until Ulyssia suggested Kurt, who is a master at making magic crystals, and when she gave one to Ophelia, she was shocked at his ability to make something so valuable. Kurt then went to Ophelia's house and was surprised to find it closed, and when he ran into Michelle, she told him that Ophelia and Lyslot weren't there, so he could consider himself off for the day. Kurt left disappointed and wondered if he had done something bad to get them to dispense with his services. He went to eat at a nearby restaurant, and while he was eating, he overheard the table next to him where a band of adventurers were sitting, apparently in trouble after their friend was injured, and the doctor told them that he needed to rest for a week. Then he realizes that they need a carrier for their next mission and don't have enough time to look for someone to help them. So he decides to walk up to them and offer to help, telling them that he doesn't know how to fight, but he trusts that he will be useful to them as a carrier. The girl laughed at him and told him that it was impossible for a tramp like him to endure the hardship of working as a porter. Her older brother scolded her and apologized to him on her behalf and told him in a proper manner that this kind of work was not suitable for him because of his weak constitution. He told them that he could handle a weight of up to 200 kilograms. To show them how strong he was, he lifted one of them with one arm and the other with the other, and the 2 of them together weighed more than 200 kilograms because of the armor they wore. They were amazed at his strength and applauded by all the customers of the restaurant. Then the band members decided to hire him, and the blonde guy told him that his name was Kans, his younger sister Sina, their leader Danzu, and their injured bearer by Binok. Kurt introduces himself and expresses his gratitude to them for accepting to hire someone like him. But they can't help but laugh at his exaggerated humility, while Kurt feels that they are nice people and he is happy to work with them. Then they arrived at their destination, and as Kurt was walking, he tripped over a slime and panicked and asked for their help while the others wondered and told him it was just a slime. Sina then gave him her dagger and told him that all he had to do was crush its nucleus. Kurt ended up getting himself into trouble by sticking the dagger in his leg, so Sina took matters into her own hands and finished off the slime, then told him that his level of fighting was more pathetic than she expected, while the others told him to leave the fighting to them while he did his job of carrying and dragging things. Kurt was surprised that they didn't get angry with him after what happened, as he was used to being treated badly by his former squad for any mistake he made, which made him cry with happiness that he had gained good comrades he could rely on. After that, they headed inside the cave, and Sina spread the luminous algae and noticed that there were goblin feces around, so they realized that this cave still had some monsters inside, and Kans told him that they could fight 1 or 2 monsters, but if they were surrounded by a group of monsters, they would run away. Kurt notices something strange in the wall, and a goblin appears out of nowhere in front of them. But they manage to take care of it, and soon they hear the screams of the other monsters and realize that he called out to his companions before he appeared in front of them. When they found themselves trapped, Kurt discovered that the wall contained a secret passage, so they went inside and Sina asked him to find a way out. When she closed the passage, he was surprised that she closed it before the others entered. Kurt refused and told them that he was ready to fight alongside them. Cena yelled at him and told him that he would hinder them if he went outside since he failed to get rid of Slime and felt that she wanted to fight alongside them more than he did. But she was tasked with protecting him. When Danzu asks him if he regrets it, he tells him that dying to protect his sister is the greatest honor an older brother can receive. They decide to fight together until their last breath to ensure the survival of their friends. Kurt is surprised that they accept him as a friend even though he can't do anything for them. And when Cena lights up the corridor, they are shocked to see a huge iron dragon standing in front of them. On the other hand, Lyslot and Ulyssia go to the inn where Kurt is staying, and Ulyssia asks her to hide the fact that she is a princess from him. When they enter his room, they are surprised that he is not there, and then they hear a voice from outside telling them that he has gone to the cave northeast of the city with Sakura's band. Ulyssia rushed outside to investigate the voice speaking to them, but Bandana had disappeared. She wondered how she knew where Kurt was and thought it might be a trap, so she decided to go and look for him and asked Lyslot to stay in his room. Lyslot refused to leave her and told her that she had learned enough magic to protect herself and vowed not to get in her way. After they went to the cave, they found that the luminous moss was still there, and Lyslot was able to follow Kurt's footsteps by seeing his footprints. Ulyssia was surprised by her magical footprinting abilities and enhanced sense of smell as she followed Kurt's scent into the cave until they reached a certain point. When they heard the sound of swords clashing, Ulyssia drew her sword and decided to continue on alone. Meanwhile, Kans and Danzu were surrounded by goblins, and there was nothing they could do until they were surprised by Ulyssia's timely arrival and eliminated all the goblins around them, while Cena was still in shock seeing 3 dragons block their path and thought she should have refused the mission from the beginning and apologized to Kurt for involving him in the matter. He approached her and told her that they would succeed in escaping from here. Then he grabbed his dagger and headed towards the dragons. Cena thought he was going to die, but she was soon surprised to find him tearing their bodies like scrap metal and succeeded in bringing them down one by one. Then he told her that he used to mine iron dragons. Ulyssia broke into the secret passage and was shocked when Cena told her what he had done on his own and his description of overcoming dragons with mining. When Kurt saw her, he begged her to go help Kans and Danzu since they had decided to sacrifice their lives for him and Cena. She told him that they were alive despite their injuries, which made him feel relieved. Then Ulyssia remembered the legend she had heard about a man with G-rated fighting skills and S-rated harvesting skills and thought he might be that man. Lyslot joined her, admiring what Kurt had done and seeing him as a hero, while Kans and Danzu thanked Ulyssia for her help and told her that they didn't know about the horde of goblins that had escaped to this cave from the adventurer's combat training. She then told Kurt about the artisan workshop she was about to set up and asked him if he could work there with her. He told her that he was now working for Sakura, but Kans told him that the offer was too good to refuse and that he should go and work there and not worry about them. Ulyssia had the idea to invite everyone to join her and work for the workshop since they were short-handed, but Kans and his friends didn't mind. And when Kurt was about to leave, she suggested that he take an aptitude test when they got back to the city to find out his talents before they started working at the workshop. He thought he was going to take the test when the recruiter arrived. When they got back to the city, he went to the company and met Mimiko, who told him that she had been hired to evaluate job applicants. She added that she was excited to see him, especially after Ophelia recommended him and seeing his magical crystal. In the evening, Kurt spent his time celebrating with his new friends at the bar while Ulyssia went to meet Mimiko and find out the result of the evaluation. She told her that his skills in cleaning, cooking, and mining are B-ranked, and anything else is considered G-ranked. And since the recruitment company is unable to measure any other rating other than G and SS, it means that his abilities for them are SSS rated, in addition to his magical power being much greater than even hers. She added that these results are good enough to appoint him as the secret artisan teacher at the workshop. And while they were talking, they were surprised to see Kershal standing behind them in a dazed state. The next day, Kurt and his companions traveled to the border city by carriage. Ulyssia told them about the origin of the city, which was originally a military base located on the border of Demonland. While Kans and Danzu were excited to form their own party in the area, Cena was furious that Ulyssia agreed to hire them to keep them quiet about something and vowed that she would protect Kans and Danzu this time if anything happened to them. After they arrived in the city, Kurt was embarrassed to realize that this was the city whose walls he had restored in the past and ended up being kicked out 3 days later. He noticed that they hadn't made much progress on the restoration since he left and thought they were using a different method. Ulyssia tells them that this land is where the workshop will be built as their new base, and Kans, Danzu, and Cena are surprised when she assigns Kurt to build the workshop on his own.
What?
He felt confused before telling her how difficult it would be to build a workshop in one day, while Cena expressed her objection to the idea of him doing everything on his own. When he told Ulyssia that it would take 3 days to build, she didn't mind and told him not to hesitate to ask for additional materials if needed. He wrote down a few things and gave her the list, and she told him she'd have it for him in 2 days. Before she left, she noticed Cena's obvious displeasure on her face and told everyone to head back to the inn and wait until Kurt finished the construction. Ulysses then met everyone at the inn, where Cena told them what happened in the cave when Kurt defeated 3 iron dragons single-handedly with a dagger and asked Ulysses who he was. Ulysses had to reveal her identity to gain their trust and told them that she was an adventurer who had been working for the royal family for some time. And Lyslot introduced herself and told them that she was the 3rd princess of the kingdom but was hiding her identity for certain reasons. Cena asks if Kurt is royalty too, and Ulysses tells her that even they don't know his true identity or anything about his past. All she knows about him is that his combat skills are G-rated and his other skills are SSS rated, though he doesn't realize how powerful his skills are. Ulysses said that Kurt is actually the new master craftsman, and that this is also a secret. Cena was furious that she is constantly deceiving him about many things. Ulysses told her that he would not believe them if they told him the truth, and that he would be targeted by many low-life people. So Cena accused her of being the one using him. Lyslot told her that he managed to break her curse after he prepared food one day, as someone had been after her for a while. And Ulysses continued that the reason they chose this city to build the workshop and stay there was to uncover their enemy. Lyslot then told them that Kurt doesn't know anything about it, nor does he know her identity as a princess, yet he didn't hesitate to save her for free. Ulysses added that he is a wonderful and kind-hearted person, which is the main reason why she wants to protect him. Then Lyslot, as Kurt's friend, asked them to keep everything they knew a secret and help them protect Kurt. And Danzu agreed to help them as he had already risked his life for him even though he was an adventurer and did not have to follow the orders of a member of the royal family. Cena marveled at Danzu and Kan's enthusiasm and told them that it had only been a few days since they had met him. Ulysses told her that she understood her position since it had only been a week since she had first met him as well. Cena asked for time to think carefully before leaving the room. When she was alone, she thought that Kurt should know the truth, and when she went to where he was building the workshop, she was shocked to see how much space he had dug in such a short time. When she admired his skill in building and excavating, he told her that he felt slow compared to the people of his town who were used to building dozens of houses in one day, and she felt that he was strange and wondered if he didn't feel uncomfortable being assigned such work. He told her that no one forced him to do anything and that he was glad he could do something. He remembered the Dragon Fangs who called him useless and said he was glad he could prove he was useful to someone. Cena realizes what Ulysses meant by saying that he's a great person and wants to protect him. Before turning back, she tells him that they are now friends. Meanwhile, Danzu meets Bandana in secret and manages to convince him that their friend Binok is a spy whose job is to infiltrate and destroy teams by accepting special missions for the bad guys. She then told him that he was known as the Thousand Faces and had succeeded in destroying countless squads and had deliberately agreed to their squad's last mission in order to crush them. She thought that a squad with a grudge against them had sent him to them, so he gave her a reward for telling him this information and decided to get rid of him. In the evening, the bastard Binok spends his time at the bar harassing the bartender, then gets angry that Sakura's squad survived their last mission and didn't die somehow. Knowing that they were on a mission involving the kingdom's princess, he thinks he can capitalize on it by ruining their work. Suddenly, he felt someone behind him and was shocked to see that it was Danzu, who heard his malicious intentions. So he had no choice but to flee. As soon as he exited the tavern, he stumbled into the trap that had already been set for him and tried to convince him that he didn't know about the goblins in the cave. Danzu pointed his sword at his neck and threatened him that he would not hesitate to kill him if he tried to approach his trusted friends and told him that he did not consider him a friend anymore. After his departure, Bandana summoned her followers to carry Binok away, thinking that she wanted Danzu to finish him off, and then decided to head towards Kurt's hometown after receiving a letter from her master. After 3 days, Kurt finished building the workshop and Danzu and Kans were shocked when they saw it, as it looked like a palace. Then Kurt took everyone on a tour of the workshop and they were amazed that he had overbuilt the workshop so much in everything that he used all the materials that Ulysses brought him to turn them into magic crystals. When they went to the master craftsman's room, he asked Ulysses when he was coming. She was confused and told him that he was busy at the moment, and when she asked him about his room, he told her that he would just sleep in the small lounge area by the kitchen. Ulysses suggested he use the teacher's room since no one would be using it for a while, but he was embarrassed, so the others convinced him to stay there until the master craftsman arrived after 2 hours of discussion. Ulysses then asked him to put a curse barrier around the palace, but Kurt told her that it was difficult for him to do so she used the spells that Mimiko had given her earlier. Then Kurt went to prepare food for them and Lyslot decided to help him carry the dishes,
Yeah, boy.
which made Ulysses jealous. Then Cena joined them, and when she smelled a good smell of bread, Kurt told her that he had built an oven in the workshop where he could bake fresh bread every morning, then asked them to wait in the dining room. And after a while they all sat down to eat lunch together and expressed their admiration for the taste of the food that Kurt prepared and felt happy that they would eat food of this quality every morning. Ulysses noticed that he didn't come to eat with them, and Lyslot told her that he went to do some cleaning work after noticing some stains on the walls. Ulysses realized that he would try to remove the protection spells she had placed and rushed straight to him. As soon as she arrived, she found that he had already removed all the spells, so she had no choice but to submit to his exaggerated abilities. Frustrated that the workshop was left unprotected, she thought about whether she could protect Lyslot herself until Mimiko arrived a few days later. One day, Marlefus is shocked when Bishop Tristan tells her that she was fired after her former band's reputation was tarnished by failures and violence towards others, and the band's leader became a wanted man. She tells him that it's not her fault and that all she did was shoot lightning bolts at a restaurant in the royal capital for serving food worse than pig feet. But Tristan doesn't care and tells her that her former band's bad reputation will become a stain on the church's reputation. Marlefus was devastated to end up expelled after she had done her best to raise the church's reputation by joining adventurers and performing miracles for others, then found Tristan offering her a simple task in exchange for forgiving all her sins and granting her the rank of priestess. Then he gave her a glass of wine and ordered her to drink it even though it was wine coming from the empire hostile to their country. But she was forced to drink, and after she finished, Tristan drew a smile of victory on her face and ordered her to help him assassinate the third princess, Lyslot. At that time, Marlefus was shocked, especially after she felt something wrong inside her body. Then a mark appeared in the abdominal area to end up infected with the same curse that befell Lyslot. And after she knelt before him, Tristan told her that her body had become poisoned and would not accept anything but water and would end up dying of starvation within a month. But he would free her from the curse if she succeeded in carrying out her mission. In the end, she was defeated by the Demon King who appeared out of nowhere and took her life. On the other hand, Ulysses was relieved that Lyslot was okay even after Kurt accidentally removed the protection charm. Then she thought that maybe their enemies hadn't spotted her yet, so Lyslot was unharmed, or that Kurt was breaking the curses with his cooking without them realizing it. Meanwhile, Mimiko finally arrived in town and set up her nets at Ophelia's house in preparation for anything to happen. Lyslot admires the food Kurt made today, and he tells her that he made it a challenge for himself to prepare food creatively. And when she asks him to make porridge for her if she falls under a curse, he confidently tells her that she doesn't have to worry about being cursed again. Ulysses marveled that he spoke with such certainty despite his inability to create protective spells around the workshop. He then told her that this entire mansion was a barrier to curses, so he couldn't create another one, and modified it to make the cursed person glow all the time. Meanwhile, Ophelia felt a magical attack on her workshop through Mimiko's protection spell by an assassin, but was shocked to find a bright light flowing from it after the curse disappeared. Ulysses decided to go tell the others, while Lyslot suggested that they go shopping together since she hadn't left the workshop since her arrival. Lyslot was frustrated that she couldn't go out whenever she wanted and apologized that she couldn't accompany him. In the evening, General Allraid was standing at the top of the wall, and when he saw the fog getting thicker around him, he had a bad feeling about it. His subordinate, Generic, told him that if this signaled a monster attack, things would be fine after the walls were repaired, and he was impressed that he was personally supervising it himself. Allraid told him that he had no choice as he was worried about enemy spies infiltrating their ranks. Ulysses then went to where Ophelia and Mimiko were and found that they had found the one who tried to curse the workshop dead after his allies got rid of him, and noticed that he was still glowing even after his death. Ophelia admired Kurt's ability to repel the enemy's magic and thought it would be easier to solve the issue if he cooperated with them fully. But Ulysses refused to involve him directly so as not to jeopardize his own safety, and the three of them suddenly heard a loud alarm bell. Allraid ordered his army of mages to light up the area around them and was shocked to see an army of skeletons coming their way. Allraid distributed tasks to his soldiers and ordered Generic to evacuate the citizens. Then he was surprised to see the skeletons disappear as soon as they approached the wall. On the other side, Ulysses and the others learned that the town was attacked by skeletons, and when she saw that they were heading towards the western wall, and disappeared as soon as they crossed it, she remembered what Kershel told her that Kurt was the one who repaired it. At the same time, Allraid remembered that Kurt was the one who repaired the wall, and did not rule out that what was happening to the monsters was due to his magic. On the other side, Marlefus was dying, but the Demon King decided not to let her die. He told her that after the failure of the first wave of the town's invasion, it was time to launch the second and third wave, and that he intended to use her power to summon the monsters, while Marlefus was in a state of shock after realizing that Tristan had made a deal with the Demon King and put him at his service. The Demon King uses her to summon more skeletons and monsters, and when he realizes she doesn't have enough power, he decides to use her soul as fuel, making her feel like the church has set a trap to get rid of her. The next day, everyone realized that the city was surrounded by monsters on all sides and they couldn't call for reinforcements. When Ulysses told Kurt what happened yesterday, he told her that it was common in his village to purge monsters when they touched the walls. Then she realized that he had deliberately built it that way, and thought that the monsters might be able to overrun the town if they went to the walls that were free of the purging effect. Then she had an idea and decided to go after telling Kurt and Lyslot not to leave the workshop. When Kurt wanted to go with her, she told him that the situation was dangerous with so many monsters outside and he felt frustrated that he was useless in terms of fighting. So she approached him and whispered to him that he should stay with Lyslot to make sure she doesn't get attacked. Kurt gets excited and tells Lyslot that he will take good care of her in the workshop. Ulycia heads to the warehouse and decides to use the magic crystals for the rest of the walls. Then she heads towards Allraid with Mimiko and Ophelia, and upon seeing them, he realizes that Lyslot is staying in the town. When he thought about turning his soldiers to guard her, Mimiko told him that someone was already taking care of it. Ulycia told him her plan and asked him to have his soldiers play bait to attract the monster's attention while she would head to the ruins in the west to get rid of the monster generator. When Allraid felt she was risking her life by taking on the monsters in the west alone, Ophelia told him that they had a secret weapon, the magic crystals, and could guarantee their effectiveness, so he agreed to carry out their plan on the condition that they let him accompany them to the ruins, with Generic leading the bait team. He then asked Ophelia and Mimiko to protect the city while they carried out the plan and ordered his soldiers to move immediately. He then noticed that Generic was not satisfied with his plan because he wanted to fight directly, although he told him that he would not change his strategy. Generic decided to have a drink together as a final goodbye before any battle. Then he spilled his drink on the floor and told him that there would be no goodbye between them and vowed that they would both survive and go home as usual. Afterward, Kurt sat around cleaning and doing chores, thinking about what he really had to do and remembering what had happened to him since he was kicked out of the Dragon Fang. While Ulycia headed west with Allraid and some soldiers and told them to cover their eyes as soon as she threw the crystal. She then aimed it at the head of one of the monsters, causing a bright light to shine from it. Within seconds, Allraid was shocked that all the monsters in the west disappeared in a flash, as if they had never existed in the first place. The soldiers then headed outside the walls to carry out the rest of the plan while Kurt finished making a new dagger, though he felt unsatisfied, as if he had made a D-rank weapon despite his B-rank blacksmithing skills. Then he found Lyslot joining him. When she noticed that he had made a new weapon, he told her that he was distracted, so he didn't get it right. When she looked at it, she liked it, so Kurt didn't mind her keeping it. When she felt grateful, he realized that she was forcing herself to pretend to be happy, and wondered if it was okay to keep pretending not to notice her true feelings. He was curious to ask her if she knew who was after her, and when she was confused, he confirmed his suspicions that she was scared all the time. She told him that she felt guilty that he and Ulycia were putting her through so much trouble, especially since she chose to go to the ruins in the west where her target was. Kurt remembered when he went with his former squad on a mission there and Gulnova wrote his name on a ruin to prove that he had passed through here once, which means that ruins are the perfect place for people who like to write on things. He quickly felt frustrated because he wanted to accompany her, but his lack of combat is what prevents him, and he admitted that he would not be able to protect someone dear to him. Lyslot tells him that she feels the same way and wishes she could catch the culprit herself. When Kurt realizes their mutual helplessness, he decides to take her out of the workshop and go to the ruins in the west. Meanwhile, Ulycia and Allraid end up surrounded by monsters, and Ulycia has a feeling that something bad is about to happen soon. Lyslot excitedly got ready to leave the workshop, and when she looked at her new dagger, she remembered Kurt's instructions that the blade spell would activate if she held it above her head and was curious to try it. But no spell appeared. Then she heard Kurt tell her to get ready quickly, so she put her dagger in its sheath. And then she was surprised by an intruder sneaking into her room. On the other side, Ulycia and Allraid continued to eliminate the monsters around them, and Ulycia thought that Generic's magic crystals were about to run out. While she was thinking, Allraid was injured and soon ended up tied up as the monsters swarmed around her. Hans and Danzu appeared just in time to save them while Sina found the source of the monsters. Ulycia used the crystal to exterminate the monsters around them, then gave Allraid an herbal drink made by Kurt, and he was surprised that his wounds healed after he drank it. Then they all headed inside the abandoned building to find the source of the monsters. Meanwhile, Marlefis was inside, suffering from the Demon King's overuse of her power to the point where she felt like she was about to die, while the Demon King realized that someone had infiltrated his place. On the other side, Ulycia and Allraid reached the room from which the monsters come out, and after they used the magic crystal to destroy them, the Demon King appeared, and Ulycia did not hesitate to rush towards him and use the crystal to destroy him, but she was soon surprised when she saw him still standing in front of her. Then he told her that he is immortal and nothing like this can harm him. When Allraid rushed towards him and attacked him with his sword, he found that he had the ability to heal himself. Meanwhile, Marlefis thought to try to erase the magic circle below her to stop the drain on her powers. Then the Demon King admired how Allraid's followers fought against his monsters to defend their town. Allraid was furious to see his followers suffer and told him that none of them would kneel before his monsters. And the Demon King decided to send more monsters towards them. Then he told them that Sakura's squad would be crushed before they could even get inside the building. They rushed towards him and cut off his head and stabbed him in the heart before he sent his monsters out. He picked up his head and put it back into his body and vowed to finish off all the knights and make them watch the princess get torn apart in front of them. Ulysses felt that they were in trouble because they couldn't take him down while the Demon King was enjoying her miserable expression. On the other side, Marlefis started to give up because her strength was completely gone and she couldn't even run away. Then she felt like she was starving and wished she could eat some of the food Kurt had prepared himself. Then she started to hear his faint voice near her and thought she was hallucinating before she died. But she was soon surprised to see him emerge from an underground hole he had dug himself to sneak into the building with Lyslot without being noticed. Then Kurt was surprised to see her when she thought he had revealed her involvement in Lyslot's assassination, so he brought her with him to convince her to back off. When Lyslot asked him if he knew her, Kurt told her that she was like his sister and a member of his former band. Marlefis told him that she was his sister. Marlefis tells him that she was kicked out of the church and the band. When he asks if that's why she's stalking Lyslot, she thinks he's feigning ignorance, but is quickly surprised when Kurt scolds her, thinking she's the one who's been carving strange symbols near Lyslot's room to vent her anger. When he asked her about Ulysses, she remembered the adventure she had seen through the eyes of the Demon King, and told him she was upstairs. Lyslot decided to go to her and asked him to clean up the large stain underneath Marlefis. Marlefis felt that he was foolish enough to let the princess wander into such a dangerous place alone, knowing that someone was after her. And when he started to clean the magic circle, she was shocked that he was able to break it and erase parts of it. In the meantime, Ulysses and Alraid were still fighting against the Demon King and felt that something was wrong as he was no longer able to heal himself. They were shocked to see Lyslot heading towards them, and the Demon King did not hesitate to attack her and plunged his weapon into her body, causing her to fall instantly before Ulysses could reach her. The Demon King felt triumphant and taunted Lyslot for coming here by herself, and that she would have lived longer if she had stayed quietly within the town's borders. But he quickly became angry when he realized that the Lyslot he attacked was only an illusion after the real Lyslot appeared behind them. She then told them that this was thanks to her new weapon made by Kurt, as when she tried it out in her room, she was surprised that it created a replica of herself, so the Demon King attacked her again, but discovered that this was another illusion. Then the real Lyslot appeared, this time near the magic crystal that fell from Ulysses, and shattered it to emit a light that killed the Demon King. And Kurt heard the sound of his screams from inside while Sakura and the rest were surprised by the disappearance of the monsters they were fighting outside and realized that they had finally succeeded in defeating the Demon King. Ulysses scolds Lyslot for coming here, and she tells her that she couldn't bear the thought of continuing to hide and wanted to do something. Ulysses is relieved that she wasn't hurt, and she and Alraid expressed their gratitude to her for saving them in time. She felt embarrassed and told them that she should be the one to thank them for protecting her, and the city vowed to bring them a nice reward, but Alraid told her that all he needed was some alcohol to drink with his men to celebrate the victory. In the meantime, Kurt finished removing the magic circle, but the curse was still inside Marlefis's body and she was starving. Then she found him giving her a portion of canned food, so she decided to eat it even though she was sure that her body would reject anything but water, as Tristan had told her. But after she ate it, she was surprised not to feel the urge to vomit, and the curse was removed as soon as the food hit her stomach. And she realized that this was one of Kurt's hidden powers that had been present all along, and that he was the one protecting them. So she apologized to him for not being aware of the extent of his power all this time. Ulysses and Lyslot joined them. Marlefis was surprised that she ended up under arrest for the attempted assassination of the princess, and thought that Kurt would defend her, but he only told her that he would visit her in prison and bring her some food, while Ulysses couldn't believe that Kurt and Lyslot had just saved her life. Then they decided to go back to the workshop and Kurt felt happy that he had friends to go home with. In the evening, they all sat down to celebrate and have dinner together while Kurt just watched them and felt frustrated that his food was so bad that they swallowed it like a drink. He felt confused before asking them if he should bring different food. Alraid told him that everyone was completely focused on enjoying the taste of his food, and then he realized that his cooking was well received by everyone, which gave him a sense of relief. Lyslot introduces Alraid to him and he is surprised to learn that he is actually the general who rules the city. When Alraid wants to know what he thinks of the city, Kurt tells him that everyone is nice and the food is good. Generic joins them and tells him not to be fooled as Alraid is bad in terms of running the town, so he pokes him to keep quiet. Then everyone is surprised when they see fireworks decorating the sky and Kurt tells them that he set them up for their enjoyment. Then they find their wounds healing on their own due to the food they ate.